I will give you early warning that this video contains statistics, analytics, and a little bit of a dissection as to why I think West Ham's form has upturned and why I think maybe we should change our transfer priorities. So if you're looking for an animation or a rude joke, you've probably come to the wrong place. That being said, the video is young and anything can still happen, but I haven't planned any, put it that way. In terms of our form, and I think I am going to call it form. Why am I going to call it form? Because, as you all know, I was pleased with what I saw against Arsenal. I was definitely pleased with what I saw against Wolves. And, of course, we're all very, very happy with what we saw just, well, as I record this, just a few hours ago against Leicester. But cast your mind back a little further than that. When Moyes took over, and the timeline is thus. Moyes takes over from Pellegrini. We play some games. It ain't great, but just before lockdown, our form starts to pick up. We have lockdown. After lockdown, our form is very good. We survive relegation. Why did we survive relegation? Well, because we scored lots of goals, and a lot of the relegated teams couldn't buy a goal. As is often the case, by the way. Teams that are struggling tend not to score goals. But very much the message coming from Moyes and his coaching staff was that we concede too many goals. So the priority was going to be on buying defenders. He said the same thing in his first stint, by the way. And it was as if us buying a defender would cure the problem of us shipping the goals. There wasn't a lot of talk at the time about swapping formation or anything like that. We finished the season strongly. We were playing a 4. And, as I say, still conceding, but it was almost a case of, you score 2 and we'll score 3. Exciting stuff, of course. I look at it now and he's changed formation, and what this video really is about is, has the formation cured the problem? Has that solved the problem? And we can only go on the last 3 games because those are the 3 games in which the formation has been changed. But there are a few other parameters around it, some other mitigating factors as well, such as Balbuena now, I think, has become a trusted defender. I've said before in previous videos, don't feel that Moyes trusted Balbuena, but now he does. Now Balbuena's in the mix, and I think anytime Moyes selects him, he thinks, okay, this guy will do a job, and not only do a job, he will also play well. The formation has cured the fullback problem. Yes, Sufal's come in and he's played well. He's played well in 1 good game. I don't mean to damn him with faint praise. He may well be very good. He looks really good. I'm really pleased to see him. But let's not. I want to judge him over more than 1 game. But I think the system has sorted that issue out, because on the 2 games that Fredericks played, I thought he looked pretty decent as well. So that's that. It's the fullback situation has cured the Aaron Cresswell problem. And in sorting out the left-back problem, because there is no left-back, it's left wing-back, a role to which Masuaku is perfectly suited, it's also given Moyes an additional central defender, even though, by and large, by the blueprint of what we would all consider to be a central defender, Aaron Cresswell doesn't really look like one. But he's also not playing like one, because he brings the ball forward more than a central defender would normally. Also, because he's a wide. So how can you be a wide central defender? You're either central or you're wide, aren't you? But you know what I mean. Of a middle 3, he plays on the left, which is why he was able to advance down the pitch and put a cross in. Now, if you were to buy a centre half and put a centre half in Cresswell's position, he's probably not going to cross the ball with as good a technique as him. So my point is, the system has not only stopped us shipping goals, it's given Moyes a couple of additional defenders. Now, when we were only playing with the 2 centre halves, I would agree that actually the addition of a very, very good, robust central defender in the mould of James Tarkowski would have been completely beneficial to West Ham. I understand why we were chasing him. But I just want to read you some stats now without us having a new addition, without us having a new central defender, and just see what you think about this. So I'm going to cast your mind back to the Arsenal game. And obviously people were quite upset because we hadn't done the substitutions. And if you remember, but I want you to just remember the game. The first goal was very much a Declan Rice mistake, Lacazette's goal. The second goal was scored by the substitute, I can't remember his name, the substitute came on, he tapped the ball and they squared it. We hoped it might have been offside. It wasn't. Yarmolenko didn't track his man. You can very much put both those goals down to individual errors. I mean, real whopping individual errors. I said at the time when I did the review, they hadn't done their job. They hadn't done what they were instructed to do. I didn't feel that it was a tactical plan that had gone wrong. I even said in the review afterwards, I bet Moyes was going to go in and read them the right act by saying, you didn't do your jobs. You didn't do what we trained. You didn't do what we worked on and covered in training. Let me tell you the stats from that game. So why at Arsenal, I think home and away doesn't matter anymore at the moment, by the way, when the stadiums are empty, just so we're clear. Arsenal had 7 shots on goal, 3 on target. West Ham had 14 shots on goal, 3 on target. West Ham's possession was 37%. I'm not going to list everything, all right? 3 shots on target for Arsenal. And two of those were direct errors from us. And I only highlight this because against Wolves and against Leicester, I don't feel that we made any individual errors. Or if we did, I've certainly forgotten about them. So we really only conceded 3 shots on target against Arsenal. Those are the stats. Those are the Opta stats. I just want to take you now back to the Wolves game. The Wolves game, in case you'd forgotten, was 4-0. Wolves only had 2 shots on target. 2 in the whole game. And that was just in general play. We didn't particularly make big errors for those to happen. By and large, we defended really well. Of course, we defended well. It was 4-0. If you're only going to give up 2 and 3 chances a game, nobody has 100% conversion rate. Teams might get lucky on the one-off game and score with every shot they take, but unlikely, right? 2 shots on target. They didn't score from either of them. We had, as West Ham had, 7 shots on target, 15 off target. Again, we outshot them. West Ham outshot Wolves. West Ham outshot. Actually, we matched them. I think Arsenal. Let me just get this right. No, sorry, we did outshoot Arsenal. We had 14 shots. They had 7. I mean, double the shots. That's why it felt good when I was watching it. Against Wolves, we had 36% possession, and against Arsenal was 37%. My point, you can see the point I'm building up to. We're tight at the back here, right? The most recent game, the one you just watched, which is obviously fresh in the memory, the 3-0 win against Leicester, they had no shots on target. None. Now, I think that would tell a lie if that gave the impression we didn't give up a chance. We did. Jamie Vardy was through. And he shot wide. Very unlike Jamie Vardy, but I've got to say, I think he was so frustrated by the job that Ogbonna had done on him by that point that's really why he missed. We don't see in the real Jamie Vardy, if you like, the normal Jamie Vardy. We've seen a frustrated one who had been completely marked out the game. Even if he had scored, it would have been 3-1. They weren't going to win the game. So they had no shots on target and 4 shots overall. Against Leicester, we had 14 shots, 6 on target. So we have outshot all of those teams, and those are 3 examples I used because we changed formation. No shots for Leicester, 2 for Wolves, 3 for Arsenal. In the last 3 games, our opponents had 5 shots on target. Everyone ain't bad, by the way. I'm going to really push against this narrative that starts to come out now that, oh, it was a bad Wolves team, it was a bad Leicester team, it was a bad Arsenal team. I think we're so nasty, so naughty, we're making teams look bad. And when you look at it, actually they're all good teams. Really good teams. I mean, nobody was saying they're rubbish teams when the fixture list was brought out. We were thinking, oh, crikey, a run of games. And let's be fair, what we've got, Tottenham next. We've got Tottenham next. Tottenham, I've just seen have whooped Man United 6-1, I think it was. Tottenham are a good team. It goes to show how quick and trigger-happy people are, by the way, with managers. Tottenham fans couldn't wait to get... I say couldn't wait. A lot of them wanted Pochettino out. Jose Mourinho came in. They had to look at Mourinho, said, no, we don't fancy him. Get him out. Get Pochettino back. It's funny. You know, look, Jose Mourinho, whether you like him or loathe him, is a quality manager, and you don't lose all your ability overnight. Do I think the game has moved on a little bit? Yeah. But let's be fair. We're assuming that Jose Mourinho also can't move on, and it looks like he has got Tottenham in pretty damn good shape. We'll go and we will face Tottenham. Tottenham will not find it easy against us. Why? Because we're gritty, because we're nasty, we work harder than most, we foul, and we attack and we counter-attack very, very quickly. I'll get back onto the point in a minute about why our transfer targets may or may not have changed. But I just want to labour the point while we're on here about our style of play, because I don't want to keep talking about it and then just talking about us working hard and running hard, because almost they can become dirty words. And not dirty words. These are very important attributes on a football pitch. Heading the ball is an important attribute on a football pitch, just not necessarily been attributed to West Ham. But also, there are passages during the game where we play some pretty nice football. There's passages that I can remember, particularly down the flanks, where there's been some really good exchanges, where Rice will pick up the ball and they'll do little triangles, and it'll go to Masuaku, back to Rice, then to Fornells, and just some really quick one-touch passing. And it's quite impressive. So clearly on the training ground, they're not just hoofing the ball up and down. Oh no, the Fornicator's goal was an almighty hoof from Aaron Cresswell, a cultured hoof. And the other goal was really quite different, the third goal. And of course, the first one, they were all different goals in many respects. I also thought there were times when there was some nice one-touch passing. Bowen and Soufal really combined really well. And in fact, maybe that'll be tomorrow's video, but we'll have a little look at Soufal and Bowen as a combination down that right side. However, my point is, with Declan Rice, and I do say this on Sunday night, aware that I'm going to publish this video on Monday morning, and it's the last day of the transfer window, so this video will get old very, very quickly in terms of the transfer aspect of it. The shape, not so much. Those stats remain. We've changed shape, and it's made us tighten the back. So, here's my question. Do we need to spend £30 million on a centre-back? Or whatever, let's say we're dirty, we spent £5 million on Silly, what sits on the wing. Do we now need to spend the last £25 million on a centre-half? All of it. I'm not so sure. And I'm not pretending to have the answer here. But bearing in mind, you look at that team. Bearing in mind we have some talented youngsters that can play at centre-half. Also, considering we're out the cup, so that's gone anyway. The FA Cup, we got another transfer window till the FA Cup comes around. The FA Cup's in January. We've got another transfer window first before that. Do we need to go and spend it? Now, don't get me wrong, I'd like to spend the money. Otherwise, what's the point in losing Diangana if we can't go and spend the money? As I do this video now, I understand Josh Cullen might be going to Anderlecht. Again, that's something else to discuss. I don't particularly want to get sidetracked. But we can, if we have the money, well, let's be fair, we sold Diangana to free up some funds. I think it'd be almost criminal now if we didn't spend those funds. But I'm just saying, do they all, or any of them, have to go on a centre-half? Bearing in mind, probably, if everyone stays fit, the team for the next match against Tottenham is probably going to have Issa Diop on the bench. Well, how many centre-halves do we need on the bench in that sense? If we bring one in, who goes down? Who drops down? Well, let's say it was Tarkowski. We'll use him because he's been in the mix for such a long time. Who drops back? Balbuena. So then you have Balbuena and Diop on the bench. Well, that's going to be hard. Bearing in mind we don't do substitutions, that's going to be really hard to keep both of those happy. What are you doing then? Are you banking on us maybe getting 2 injuries? Well, I don't think you can really build a squad like that, particularly if you look at Diop. We paid 23 million for him. He's not going to sit on the bench all season. So, and the point is, can he flourish within this season? Yes, I think within this system, I think everybody can flourish within this system. I think it gives enough defensive cover to everybody that the defenders look good. There was no space. No space at all for Leicester to run into. No space for Tielemans to do his stuff, which is the player I was worried about beforehand. No space against Wolves for Traore to do his stuff. It's no coincidence that Jamie Vardy cut a very, very frustrated figure against us. It's no coincidence that Traore cut a very, very frustrated figure against us. I am aware that all those 3 teams all played into our hands, in as much as I felt the system aided us that they played, and I think the fact that they tried and play a possession-based game and try to pass their way through us played into our hands. Not everyone will play like that. We will come up against teams who want to cross the ball a bit more, maybe have a few more long shots and do different bits and pieces, which will provide a different test and a sterner test. But I asked the question again, and I'm not so sure. Everyone's up in arms about, I can't even remember his name. I must say it looks like Charlie Austin or Thor. He didn't want to come because he wanted to play Champions League football, apparently. You can understand that quite right too. He's got no affiliation to West Ham. I'm not that bothered about missing out on him anyway. As I say, he's a left-sided centre-back. Had he have played in the position that Cresswell played in, well, we couldn't have conceded less goals. We scored none. I'm not sure we'd have scored 2 of them. So, there is that. Cresswell looks a player reinvigorated by the system change. That doesn't mean by no defenders, but someone that is a real senior defender, I'm not so sure. At 25 million, I don't know. Now, I don't know what Joe Rodden would cost. I know he cost 15 million, 20 million, something like that. But you do that and you still have 10 million left over to strengthen elsewhere, I would do that. The suggestion that from David Sullivan, we're looking at him and he might be one for next year. No, he really won't be. You buy him now, ideally yesterday. Otherwise, someone else in the Premier League will buy him. That's what will happen. And he'll play in the Premier League because he's very, very good. And then what you have is a player who's worth a lot more money. But will Rodden, bearing in mind he's playing at Swansea, be a bit more pragmatic and know that a trip to the Premier League and whatever, a few months on the bench, he will accept that, right? Tarkowski won't. The fella from Marseille won't. But I'm not entirely sure that this is the position anyway. And I don't have the answer, but the more I thought about it is, okay, if this system stays as it is, if we look like we're going to be a mid-table team and we're going to cause teams problems up front, would I spend 30 million on a forward? Well, I don't think you can because Antonio's got the shirt and it would really, really frustrate Sebastian Haller. Then I thought, okay, what about a winger? Well, we're not really playing with wingers. In that sense, would Diangana have got into the team as it stands now? No. He wouldn't. I'm sorry to say, he wouldn't do. When all that happened, we were playing, whatever we were playing, 4-5-1 or whatever the case may be. Is he going to play as wing back? No. Would Diangana play in Fornal's position? No. No. We're doing a very different, he's playing a very different role here. Okay, well, there's that. Central midfield is an area that I feel might be an area of some worry. Again, we'll discuss Mark Noble in the week. Josh Cullen going is an interesting one. We will discuss that as well. I don't feel we have depth at central midfield. But are we going to buy someone 30 million to sit on the bench? No, probably not. Are we going to buy someone at 30 million who will start ahead of Souček and start ahead of Rice? No, I just don't think we are. We may well have got some of Souček for 19 million, but I think we can all agree he's worth a considerable amount more. The right wing back seems to have been addressed with some really good value there. And now you look at it, you think, we've got Fredericks as a backup there, and Johnson as well. Well, that don't look bad. And you've got Harrison Ashby. All of a sudden, we look strong. Left back's different. Maybe someone there to provide cover, but then again, Diop drops in. Cresswell moves to left wing back to cover when Masuaku's injured. And anyway, so that's what I think about the squads and the money. I've got to say, the one position that I thought of, I had a reason for not doing all the others, as I've just mentioned, the forward, the wingers, the midfielders, the centre halves. And then I cast my mind to centre back, to goalkeeper. But now there's an interesting one. There's an interesting one. What sort of goalkeeper do you get for 30 million? Well, I'll tell you. You get a very, very good one.